me.
Put him in the fucking bedroom.
You queued that up real smooth there, didn't you?
I'm getting better at this, man. Hey, everybody make some noise for my panel tonight. This might be risky, episode 4. Not gonna say we putting anybody on a hot seat, but we just got some clarifications. I got some uh things I want to get clear, and I got some ideas I want to see if it's true or not. So, just want to introduce my panel real quick. To my left, Alex.
Hey y'all.
Tell them what your name, what you got going on, what your favorite color is.
Hand you and give me all of that. Yes, I'm Alexandria. Alex is perfectly fine. My favorite color is blue. It's not really too much going on other than work, adulting shit.
Indeed. And I apologize, she a little shy and shit, but we're gonna get that out of her. Caddy.
Hey, Caddy C. Nothing new. I'm not doing the color stuff, so go ahead. Continue.
Right.
Fucking bedroom. Get him out.
All right. Jimmy.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jimmy. You want to do the favorite color? Black all day, every day?
Why you throw a piece on? Who are you tonight?
That's me, baby.
All right. Shaun was good.
Good evening, everybody. I got a new favorite color today is olive green.
Bruh.
What are you talking about?
The Jock's gonna be live for him tonight.
Yeah.
Right, man.
You asked about favorite colors. It's my new favorite color today. Olive green.
This is about
Nice.
to be an epic show, I promise you. All right. First topic. So I was having a conversation with my wife and my cousin, her cousin, our cousin. And I came to the conclusion that women are very, very sexist. So I still gotta kill bugs, right? They expect that of me. But the things I expect, we have to share it. Times have changed, so on and so forth. So why do women get to be so sexist? Another example, you go to the club, right? It's okay for y'all to get in for free, not buy bottles, right? But we don't get those same luxuries. I feel that's very, very sexist. Jimmy, what's your thoughts?
It's crazy. Was having a conversation about this at work the other day. I mean, you look at the dress code. Men, they're required to wear slacks, collared shirts. Women, they have the option to come in with, spandex and the tights, the workout leggings with, a sweater on, right? So I get where you're coming from with that. Would you call it sexist? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, they fight for equality, of course. But everything ain't equal. But would you consider killing a bug sexist?
Well, I feel like those expectations don't change for us, right? But the equality thing is sometimes I see it as women may think it is slightly convenient, like it's convenient at times. Like they want it to be equal, but then when it's time to kill bugs, they can't do that, right? And I'm just using that as a generic example. What you think, Alex?
Okay, so I think in the analogy that he mentioned about going to the club, I think it's feeding y'all's ego. Like you men are naturally, you are the hunters. You want to go out, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to be the supporter. So if we're out in the club and we happen to be having a good time, you have to impress me. So if that happens to be for a woman who drink, okay, you're gonna buy me a beverage or my friend's beverages. It's just I don't know if I would use the term sexist though. I think that's the wrong term to utilize. I think we, in my opinion, I kind of feel like we both play roles, gender roles. So but I don't know if the word sexist would be appropriate to use.
Okay. Shaun?
Um, to piggyback on what Alex said, the word sexist is prejudicial or discriminatory.
Yes.
So maybe a different analogy, but is sexism real? Yes. Do both parties benefit from it? Both genders benefit from it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a staple in the community of the Black community. Any demographic you try to find is always sexism, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's used on both parties to their advantage.
Okay. Caddy?
Pretty much the same. I think that now I may be a little bit biased, but on the male side, I do think that women sometimes we pick and choose when we want to benefit from chivalry, when we want to benefit from gender roles and gender norms, and then we want to play the feminist role when it's convenient. So I think it really depends. But I wouldn't classify it as sexist though. I think it's preference when it's convenient, and we both do it. Men do it too, but yeah.
But isn't it prejudice, right? When they say she can get in for free, but he can't. That is very sexist, right?
That's discriminatory.
Based on what?
Yeah, I think when I think of sexist, I think of you can't do this because you are a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Or
you
no,
cannot
you
have
can't.
this job because you are a woman.
Exactly. Women don't kill bugs because they're women, right? Or I say women are supposed to cook, right? And if I say that, now I could easily be categorized as sexist, but it often doesn't happen the other way around. And there's a lot of benefits that women like get and obtain, and they always has been. And I feel like it's very sexist, but I don't know how often that's been said about women.
Yeah, I don't
But the
think we
problem,
talk about that in that context. I mean, we live in a misogynistic society anyway, so the narrative is always geared towards, I guess, what men do in a sense.
Yeah.
But we know again about the gender norms, and we know men choose to be dominant when it's convenient for them, and choose to do something that would be categorized as submissive when it's convenient for them. And I think it's kind of like the same thing with women too. Like
Submissive.
yeah. So when I say submissive, I'm more so like talking about like showing your emotional side. Like you wanna. Yeah, some men pick and choose when they want to show their emotional side when it's convenient.
But where's the advantage in that though?
I mean, I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
I guess that's the difference.
Yeah. See, I don't think we have it. Hey, Sean, can you mute until it's your turn? I don't think that we have it as luxury. It's not as convenient for us to go back and forth to do or don't. But I feel like sometimes with women, which is why I'm calling it sexist, because often it feels like it's like, oh, it's convenient now, but not now. I'll leverage it. I'll leverage my femininity, but then I want the equality, and I want to be revered when I have these masculine roles. So I'm just trying to understand, like, am I wrong? Am I mischaracterizing it? I don't think so. But Sean, you said I was. Why isn't that the right word?
By definition, it's prejudicial and discriminatory.
Exactly.
But what prejudice is pushed towards men from a woman's perspective?
Not
It
being
like,
in the club for
like
free.
you,
Prejudice.
like you said. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, not being able to get in the club for free, being expected to buy bottles women don't put in, but they still drink them.
That's right.
That's a thing.
Is that
Okay, but I think with that, so in that example, I think the club, the business itself, they know that women is what is going to bring out the males, and the males are the ones who are spending the money. So if I need to cater towards these women and making sure that they're looking their best, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get these men to come out and, ironic to use the word simping, but if y'all want to pay for the bottle, I mean, go ahead. If y'all want to pay for the section, go right ahead. That's your business. And you're doing it because you want the attention.
Whoa.
It's true.
That's right.
she
That's
got a
You
point.
make that choice.
She got a point. I mean, The men, we don't have to do it.
That's right.
You know,
Right.
we do it.
Right.
In that situation, it's not the woman being sexist. It's we're creating that scenario,
Environment, exactly.
right?
Because the
Like
power was
it's
with
us.
you.
They're not the ones that's letting themselves in the club for free. It's the men that's doing it, you know, and we know why we're doing it. So I think it's hard
Ladies
to
free before
categorize that.
11.
That's right.
I understand what you're accustomed to, but I'm trying to define this and gain some clarity. So now, Alex used the word simp,
She did.
derogatory as hell,
Yeah.
beta male shit, right? So not only did she say you niggas better do this, she said it's especially the simp beta men that do that. So what does that
That,
say?
that's discrimination.
Yeah, by far. Yeah.
It's
But
not what I'm creating. Y'all are creating that.
so
You
we're
put yourselves in those positions.
so you think that's created by men though? You think so Jimmy, you said it as well. So we've created this construct?
I believe we did. I mean, they didn't create it.
Why?
They benefit from it. That's without a doubt. I mean, and most women, they appreciate it, but I didn't know a lot of them. I mean, I can't say a lot of them, right? But there are the group of women that do consider that simping, right? Which is unfortunate, because most of us, we look at it as a good time. We don't have to buy the bottle. Like everybody gonna drink off us. We're gonna have a good time. Go home at the end of the night. Other situations may progress from there, but at the end of the day, I don't I think we create that situation. We don't have to. The environment definitely would change if we didn't do it, right? You might not get the crowd that you get previously, so what happens next? If a club don't allow women in for free, they're going to go to the next one that do it, right? So they benefit from it, but we also create that environment, right? It's us that's creating it. So how do we get a control on it?
So
That's it.
okay. Go ahead, Caddy.
No, I was going to say enough said. I mean, he explained it all. I mean, you all kind of, patriarchal society, you all created the system and we kind of fall in line. So, I mean, you benefit from it. We benefit from it subjectively. But I don't think that y'all have room to be mad about us code switching in a sense.
And also that just goes back to in the animal kingdom, you all hunt for the woman. You all go and show out. If you look at certain birds, right? They are, what is it? I think I want to say it's like maybe the turkey. They're the ones with the colorful feathers, the male, not the woman. So they're going out there and they're showing off all their colors. They're being flashy, and it's the woman's choice. You make the choice to go out and to do that. And a lot of times as women, when we go out, we're not necessarily, I think a lot of times when women go out, or I can only speak for myself, I wasn't going out because I was looking for someone. I'm going out to have a good time. But the men, a lot of times are going out because I'm trying to come up off of something. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be getting no sections. You'd be out there with everybody else.
I mean, sections is it's easier to get a bottle than spend $50 per cup. I mean, in those situations, because I know most of us, we're going to do it. You're going to pay for like three cocktails, and that's going to be a bottle right there. So I mean, sometimes it's easier to get a section, and sometimes a great time is created off that. I mean, in many cases.
Or sometimes you really have no money in your bank account, but yet you spend your last dime on a section to look good. So that way there's a higher possibility that you might be able to take someone home.
And look broke later.
Shaun, you got something?
Yeah. I mean, just to piggyback on what everybody says, it's a male dominated structure. The club, the lounge, the bar scene, that's all for men. We highlight women, right? The women are the highlight, but you're not going to a bar or club where women aren't dominating the sections. you're not gonna go. If it's just a bunch of dudes in the section that don't bring women to the sections, or you don't buy women drinks, or it's not an environment conducive for women to be highlighted, you're not gonna entertain yourself there.
Man, this is a bit weird.
How is it weird?
I
Yeah,
must be
explain.
honest. So, for me, right, throughout history, whoredom and prostitution has always existed. We didn't create that construct, right? But women understand the needs of men, and therefore they leverage what they have that we want against us too, though, right?
No,
Like,
no, 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 no,
yeah.
no.
Well, here's the thing: women had control access to what?
Vagina.
Vagina, right? Sex, right? And that's a need for us, right? And they know that, and therefore, in the dudes that's running the club, they must feel the same, right? So women do leverage that asset, which I'm not saying is wrong, but it's certainly a thing. So we don't we thinking we having control over it, but we only doing things to get what we want, and they control what it is that we want. When we're talking about things like sex and trying to get somebody to come home with you, that's not the same patriarchal ball game.
No, it's not, but that's not necessarily what matters in the broader scheme of things. Like,
Buying sections and all, that's literally what it's for, right? We just said that.
Yeah, but
yeah, but
that's
we're
more of
talking
a
about
competitive
sexism as a
thing.
whole. Go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say that's more of a competitive thing with men because you're still
Right,
competing with other men. You're not. It's not like the women have set this platform up and you just have to cater to them to get them.
right.
You compete with men. If there's 20 women in the club who are all getting assigned to sections because 20 people, 20 dudes and bought tables, you're competing with the other men. If you go on to buy a girl a drink, that's not the only drink that she done got purchased for her for by a guy that night. Usually, if she's attractive and she's with two or three girls and they all are similarly attractive, that's a competition. You competing, you shooting your shot the same way everybody else is shooting. That's men. That's not women. They just there. And 9 times out of 10, like I know, they just there to be there. They don't go with the same intention that we do. We kind of juice that platform for them. We turn the narrative over in that regard. Yes, they are the prize. Yes, they are the attraction, and they are the reason why most men show up to the club, right? But we definitely turn the narrative in our favor. That is misogynistic or patriarchal. what Caddy said. That's exactly what is laid out for us. But we compete against us. Even Alex's comparison to the animal kingdom, the lionesses are dominated by men. The men get to choose. The men get to dictate the pace.
Yeah, that's actually opposite though, right? The Lion Kingdom is not the same as what she was referencing about the birds.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, it's safe to say that I valiantly defended my premise against all four of y'all. So let me make some noise for myself. Thank you.
You can turn your applause off. I don't think you did. You may have mischaracterized your analogy there, but that's cool.
No, I think it is something to just to have the conversation about, because oftentimes when we hear that, it's always men, men, men. But there's a lot of things that we see and go through every day where it is quite often opposite. And I think sometimes for women, it's just slightly more convenient. Now, obviously, the trail for women to ascend, right, has been treacherous, So just like nobody can say nigga except us. I mean, I think there's some relevancy to that. So
A better analogy would have been the workplace on how an attractive man hits on a woman and it's not a problem, but a less attractive, unattractive man hits on a woman and then it's discrimination because she feels harassed. Now
selective,
that's sexism.
Yeah.
yeah. Or women can hit on men in the
Oh
workplace,
yeah.
right? But Matt I mean, obviously he was locking them, locking them in the damn office. He was using the button that they
He
use
hit
if
the button under the desk.
something else. He was a goddamn terrorist. Put him in
Put the fucking bed. Get him out of here.
the but even that part, right? Like even that is interesting, But it was just something as I was having that conversation with Shanice, I'm just like, hold on now. There's a lot of lopsided nature to this shit here. So I wanted to bring it to some minds that I respect to see what the thoughts were. So okay, cool. I appreciate it. Next topic. All right. So your apparel, right? If you're in a relationship, more specifically women, does your apparel change? Should it? Does it need to? Does it have to? So what you wear, right? If you with your man or woman, if you're not with your man or woman, like what do you think?
Well, first of all, what am I wearing before I get in a relationship? I'm confused.
I mean, you got plenty of things that people may they can be still tasteful, but like pencil skirts can be. I'm just naming stuff. Pencil skirts, halter tops, right? I don't know. What's the shirt when your stomach be out?
Crop top.
Crop top.
So
Crop
are
top.
you asking, do we tone it down once we get into a relationship?
Yeah, like is that the right approach? Is that an actual thing, or is it based on I don't know. I don't want to give my opinion too much. I'm just wondering, Alex, what you think?
Um, I don't necessarily think it's because of my husband. I just think I'm going to different places now that I'm married. Everything isn't a girls' night event. When I'm going out with my girls, similar to what was mentioned before, women, we dress for other women, and when I go out with my friends, I want to make sure if one person is wearing this, that we all look like a unit. I don't want to come out in sweats and then my girl is over here dressed to the nines. But that has nothing to do with me having being in a relationship. For some people, that's different, but I'm going to wear what I want to wear.
Okay, respect. What you think, Caddy?
I honestly think it depends on what you were wearing before you got into the relationship. For me, I pretty much dress the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't felt the need to tone it down. Y'all see Ayana. I just ask her not to wear sleeveless. People see her muscles and they just want to talk, and that's just annoying. But other than that, like she can wear whatever she wants to wear. I think it becomes a little problematic when a partner has to say something about it, because then it's just like, did you not notice this before, or is there a change that's causing this person to dress differently now? So yeah, so I think it depends on really the relationship and what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jimmy.
I mean, to her point, if you met somebody wearing certain apparel, I mean, I think you should be able to accept them wearing that same apparel. That's what they were wearing previous to. You knew what they had on, right? So if that's your taste, you should expect them to continue to wear that. Now, unless you felt like they only wore that to court you, then maybe so, right? Then your attire probably has to change. But if that's them, I mean, and you knew that was them, 24/7. I don't think you should expect them to change their apparel now that they're in a relationship. Now, as Alex said, depending on the environment, the places that you're going, certain dress code is more appropriate. Where you have to change your attire at that point. But I mean, if you respected them, before, when you was dating them, courting them, then you should have the same respect in your relationship.
Okay, Shaun.
I think it's a fine line. I'm an advocate of wanting my woman to look like $1,000,000 when we walk out the door, especially if we're going out to do something. Not like a grocery store run, but if we're going out to do something, I'm gonna want her to look like $1,000,000 because she with me and I'm with her.
Why you sounding like Billie Holiday over there? Like, wait, well, okay, Quincy Jones, go ahead.
It's that late night radio DJ voice, Caddy. That's what that is. I had a little wine now, so I'm loosened up a little bit.
And you have
Bathroom.
But no, it's a fine line. I think you would want your partner to be comfortable and not feel like they have to dumb it down so much where they're not them, But there's a fine line where something could be flagged as borderline disrespectful, right? But I think it's a conversation you have. If you communicate, and there are no insecurities, because a lot of men are insecure when their women dressed up nice and they step out and they feel some type of way. But no, I think if you communicate and you express yourself in a respectful way with your partner, like not like you get ready to get dressed to go to dinner and she throw on something where the skirt come above her fingertips and y'all ain't had a conversation about it and now you feel some type of way when you sitting at dinner. And I think if you discuss it and communicate, you should want to look good, and whatever that looks like for your couple, for your situation, as long as it's respectful, that's all that matters.
So, Hank, for clarification, is your question surrounding, individuals in a relationship becoming lazy after they, start to get comfortable, or are you just worried about the explicitness of, the apparel that they're wearing?
Yeah, so my question is more based on like the explicit nature of their apparel because as a matter of fact, I have a video about a premise that made a lot of sense and you actually see one of the panelists in the comments. 1 second.
That must be Shaun.
He don't. So I'm gonna play this.
What for us, and it's like a man. He don't want his woman doing certain things or dressing certain ways. And every time we go out and dressing really overly sexy, we're putting our man's life in danger. Because if somebody say to us out of order, say something to us out of order or wrong, then his manhood say he got to step up and defend us over nothing, over some foolishness. And if you got a man and you're satisfied and happy with him, then why are you going out trying to entice new men?
It's a stampede! DJ Ham the Stamp.
So
DJ Ham the Stampede.
My bad. So what about that premise? Have we ever thought about that? Because I think that is very, very true. So I think oftentimes things are often characterized like insecure, this, that, and the third. Like what makes sense, right? Like what's safe and not safe? Do you want to endanger your person in any way, shape, or form if these are possibilities? So is that a consideration, or do we just wear what I want to wear and whatever the fallout is going to be is going to be?
Well, first of all, why is my clothing putting my man in danger?
Right.
Well, because if somebody
I
says
get what I get it.
well, hold
I
on.
mean,
So
go ahead.
yeah, so if somebody says something to you out of turn, right, they're going to get addressed. Between men, the reason why men can converse in conversations where they kind of get understanding quickly is because the threat of violence is always underlying when men have a conversation. See, when women talk to men, sometimes you guys can get rambunctious and overly loud because there's no threat, right? Most of the time, right? Based on how we grow up about you getting punched in your shit. But between men, that's always an underlying tone. So if a man says something to my woman out the way because of how she's dressed, whatever the case is, that could be a reason. Then it can escalate and turn to violence, and violence can lead to death. So that's what just to clarify.
Yeah, I understand all that, but still, yet, why is my clothing, putting my man in danger? And when I say that, it's more so talking about the foundational issue here, like with men sexualizing women. Period. So how about we talk about that? Because if that changed, then it wouldn't even matter what I'm wearing because I'm going to be respected as a woman. Period. So I guess I hate having this conversation because
that's a whole
let's address the issue with men sexualizing or hypersexualizing women.
Now, question: is that something that you're going to be able to change in every single man overnight, or will that take what's a century, right? That's gonna take a lot of change. And even with women raising their young boys, like he gonna have all the girls, this, that, and the third, right? But for right now, because it isn't changed, right? And danger can lurk, right? If that happens, what do you say to that, right? Because yeah, there's a modus operandi, right? But what it is right now, we can't change that overnight. So
Yeah.
now that you know you're in that construct and you're not in a perfect world, what do you say then?
Well, I say we're still responsible for making the little inches of changes that we want to see. And then two, I'm going to dress respectfully for myself, not for anyone
Yeah,
else.
partner.
And I expect to be respected, and I expect my husband, partner, whomever to be respected as well. And if not, then okay, well then that has to be addressed. But still, yeah, nobody's gonna monitor like the way I dress.
Jimmy, you're about to say something, so I wanted to make sure.
No, I was just elaborating on the point about the danger. I get that. I get that point, right? Because you do have men, you have women that's out there that's disrespectful, that's going to say some things, and it's our women, thoughts that we're supposed to protect them, right? We're not going to just allow anyone to speak to them any type of way. They expect us to provide a response. So that can escalate at times, right? The situation is not going to be, that simple always where, you say something and they respectfully, go their way. You're going to have individuals that want to take it to the next level. I mean, it happens all the time. So, I mean, I get the point about the clothing. Should it be that way? Should you have to be concerned about, other people saying something about, your woman? Nah, you shouldn't, but that's the world that we live in.
Yeah. Shaun, then Alex.
The threat of violence is real, but that's another conversation you have with your person. Like, if you put that on, somebody say something slick, the night gonna get short real quick. I mean, that's something honest you got to say to somebody, because if they don't know, then they may not understand. Like you said, Kat, if you don't understand why is there violence on the table because of my dress? Well, that's a real thing, but that's also a real conversation. If you don't have that and there's confusion, if you're a different type of dude, I mean, some disrespectful people out there.
Yep.
Right? Some people will look at your situation, look at you walking with your woman or your partner, whoever, and make a decision, oh, I'm gonna say something intentionally. Mm-hmm. Then we gotta address that, right? Mm-hmm. That conversation is so important, because your person got to know you got a little shit in you that if they step outside the lines and do something wrong or say something wrong and someone else does, then it could go left, right? But no, having that conversation is so important. If you don't, then you rolling the dice. And then if it turns out and she want to wear that dress anyway, then it's not the person for you. There's somebody willing to put you in danger, like Sister Soldier said in the clip. If somebody willing to put you in danger like that, that's not the person for you. No, she's after something different.
Yeah, so I have a question. So let's say,
I just want to make sure, Alex.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. Like, I'm just really piggybacking off of everything, and I think one aspect of it is, men, y'all have to do better. You have to be, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. Why is it on me to have to check what I wear? Because you can't control yourself, because you don't have any home training. However, I am not the parent of everyone else, so there are things that are beyond my control. But I also think, as the point that was just mentioned, was that, that's a conversation we're going to have beforehand. I'm very well of my partner, and I think it's important to know the person that you are with. Are you with someone who, if someone says something to them, do they know, or can they walk away? Or if someone says something, all right, things are about to pop off. Also, before we leave the house, for me, when I'm looking, I'm like, all right, is this okay to wear? My partner is going to be like, okay, where are you going? You think that's appropriate to wear? And that's where the communication is key, to be like, something, I don't really feel comfortable with you wearing that because of X, Y, and Z. So there's so many different layers to it. But for me, it starts at home, and men, y'all just have to do better.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, right? I think people need to be better, but scantily clad is a thing, right? So I don't know what you want men to do if you got your ass out? Like what do you expect? So is it, are we saying that they ain't not supposed to say nothing? Right,
No,
you got your ass out, your titties out, and all that. That's supposed, you're not supposed to get any feedback.
everything doesn't deserve. Are you talking about with your partner or the other person?
Yeah, so if I'm walking down the street, right, when I was especially younger, right, I'm gonna stop and say something. It may not be rude, or it might be rude, but if you are dressed in a particular way, I'm thinking that you on the same page as me, especially when I'm younger. So are you saying men can't comment? So if she got her ass out and her titties out, we can't comment.
Why you gotta even say anything?
Right. Just you can see something. You don't have to say the first thought that comes to your mind. You can just continue walking.
Or you could say, "Hey, what's up, shorty?" Right?
Do y'all remember that Dave Chappelle joke about the police uniform? When he just had the costume on, it was like, I'm not a police officer. Like, I just like this outfit.
Right? Like if you dressed a particular way and we see that same outfit at the stadium, what's it gonna?
Okay, so Ham, how would you feel if you're walking down the street? Like it is gray sweatpants season. I hate to be like that, but that's who we're in, right? You walking down the street and I see your print and I'm like, oh, what's up? What's good with you? Your print is looking big. I'm liking what like. You would feel violated. I could see it and just not say anything and continue walking.
But that's the double stick, because women will walk up to you, grab your arms, touch your chest. They do all that all the time to us, right? We don't not that.
Really?
Heck yeah, it happens. They tap you, touch you, rub all the time.
What women are y'all meeting where they just
You're
Right.
just really
The body
like
is
Caddy,
yours.
for real.
I didn't know. Come on.
What?
No, wait, hold on. I don't know if I've ever witnessed all of that.
Caddy.
Not off the back. Like I can see if they've had some type of communication. It's like, oh,
Nah.
okay, I see you, but you don't know me. Don't touch me. Like just.
I know. Yeah, but for us, it's not that same way. Women will walk up to you and just like, and they might not. They probably won't grab your Johnson, but they would do that type of stuff all the time. I mean, that's regular.
Well, then tell them to back up.
Well, do you like it when
That's
it's
after the fact, though.
Do you like it when it's sent to you?
What
Right.
we're saying is these things happen in the opposite, right? Like, yes, like women do comment and say this, that, sweatpants and the whole 9 yards. Like that is an actual thing, right? So we're asking, if I go to the gym with gray sweatpants and I get a comment, I'm not gonna be taken aback because I know what that means and I know what that says. And I know that gray sweatpants are automatically what women, it clicks. And I don't care what type of relationship you in, y'all be looking all types of shit. Right. So that's literally what we saying. Like literally, like why you expect us not to say nothing or not to look or stare or I just don't. I don't understand. Here it goes. This the sexist shit again.
Yeah, I ain't got much to say on that. I'm gonna be honest.
Come on, man.
Hold on, just teach your kids better. Have home training.
Yeah, I mean, because I understand and I agree, so I have no further points. You made a good argument.
Hey, one thing we need is honesty, Caddy.
I'm telling you.
I appreciate it. So everybody good? Or what? What's up? What do you think? Let me before we continue, let me bring Bro Man back to the show.
Bro, man.
Right.
Bro Man, halfway house?
Good evening. Excuse me?
You in a halfway house?
That's what I thought. I was like, oh,
That's what I
he's
feel like.
struggling. I thought he was struggling.
Oh man.
Yo,
Welcome Andre, man. He, doing the right thing, being a dad and all that.
Right. Never stops.
Indeed. So Dre, we was talking about adorning women adorning themselves in modest apparel when in a relationship, and should they do that? Should they be cognizant of what they put on? We just showed a clip of Miss Ali just talking about how if you wear scantily clad apparel, you can put your your partner in danger. But the women said they're gonna wear what they want to wear. They will be mindful of their partner, but at the end of the day, it's their decision. And more explicitly, men have to do better. Is what was said. So, what's your thoughts?
Um, I agree that they can dictate what they wear. I don't think that a man should dictate what they wear. However, what I always say is that I want to be respectful. And when I say respectful, I mean those guidelines are established ahead of time in our relationship. What respectful means to me. So as long as we are respecting one another, then it really doesn't matter exactly what you put on. I think it also changes as well too. If I'm with you versus when I'm not with you as well. I think that comes into play as well. I think that this might be risky, but I think that you can wear more. Would you call it? You call it scandalous.
Yeah.
Okay, more scandalous attire while I'm with you than when I'm not, because we can then at that point in time help control the situation.
In what way though? So it can lead to violence, right?
No, it doesn't have to. No, I mean you have to maintain your temper as well. But I think that you can. I think that you can definitely deter some unwanted passes.
By what? Oh, like just by being present?
By being present, correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, I just fear that, back in our heyday, if it was me, you, and Shaun walking, and somebody say something that we don't see, boy, and he got an attitude, he gonna have more than an attitude before he leave.
That's correct. I mean, but we mature and we grow, right?
I know. I'm just saying though, right? Like you remember those days? Like
I do. I mean, as I say, at one point in time, I would say no, you can't wear what you want to wear. I think you should wear what I deem appropriate at all times.
Because I'm gonna see Shaun tonight, he might say something, I'm gonna get punched in my mouth, right?
Hey, it could happen.
But you see what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
And things have escalated. I mean, to that point. I mean, things have escalated to that point where we've seen somebody we deemed disrespectful to the person that we're with.
Yeah,
and it didn't turn out pretty.
I mean, but was the person that you were with, were they really wearing something that was disrespectful?
Well, a lot of times, Caddy, that doesn't even matter because
that's oh my God, the point.
Yeah, what does it matter?
It's outside of apparel.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, because what's provocative to somebody may not be to someone else, right?
Well, how do you control that?
I mean,
you can't.
No, you can't control it. So because that's a variable that you can't account for, you just have to know how to address it, right? So if you know that somebody may perceive something the wrong way and you have it on, then you know somebody might perceive it the wrong way because that's something when you put it on, we going out with my man, and you put it on, it's like, well, you might think about, right? I mean, I think about the same thing. If I put a shirt on that's fitted more so than another one, then I know it's going to garner a different reaction from people. I know women think the same thing when they put an outfit on, a dress or shorts or whatever. You have to contemplate at some point, what is this going to do to someone else? And will it cause them to have a reaction? Y'all have that reaction without your man, whoever you with, right? If you walk down the street in something provocative by yourself, you're going to get the cat calls, you're going to get the hey mom, whatever it is, right? So if that same outfit you put on when you with somebody, that's a potentially explosive environment. The same way if you were by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear you, but it doesn't make it right. And I know we're not talking about what's right versus what's wrong, but I mean, I've seen Hamp wear stripes and plaid, and he walked down the street all the time, and no one says anything. So as a woman, I feel like I can wear whatever I want and not expect anyone to say anything either.
That's not realistic though. I mean, you calculate before you leave the house what you have on. Even if you're not with somebody else, if you can be single, you can be single. You still you just do the same calculations. Like, I don't really feel like being bothered today, right? So I'm gonna wear X, Y, and Z versus I know this is going to garner a certain amount of attention. still gonna say things, right?
Yeah, it's just not right.
Uh, I don't think it's wrong. I think it's true. You know,
It
so
is wrong. It's wrong.
no, depending on what you have on, it garners attention in a certain way. You know that because you guys are super intelligent before you put it on.
Attention is one thing, reaction is something different. Meaning, you can see me and find me sexually attractive, and just see me, right? Leave
And I
me the hell
can't talk to
alone.
you. I can't talk to you.
Like, yeah, don't talk to me. Why you got to talk to me for? Do you got to talk to everybody in the world?
Get him out of here. Put him in
Like, why? Why me?
Come on, man.
To
Don't
shoot,
No.
to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
So what if you're walking down the street and your girl is just dressed regular, or she's in her sweats, or whatever it is, and someone still comes over to you? Are you gonna have an issue then too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So then why can I
Hey,
wear?
we know that I will go home. I'm gonna say, "Babe, you good?" If she had on some stadium shit, I'm gonna say, "See, nigga, that's why you shouldn't have wore that shit tonight."
No, she had on sweats. She had on sweats.
No, I'm
She
just,
had on
I'm just
sweats.
saying, the conversation after is
So
go
it's
a little bit differently.
it's so
Yeah, but
difficult
you
now.
also
It's so
gonna,
Go ahead, Dre.
but you're also gonna you're gonna temper how many times that's gonna happen. Yeah, it could happen. You can be out with just sweatpants on and baggy shirt, and somebody come up to you. But if you have something scandalous on, it might be, instead of one person, it might be 10, right?
Yeah,
So you want to avoid those type of situations.
Yeah, you need to mitigate the risk, right? And I think that's the key. Go ahead, Sean.
And I was going to say, more to Caddy's point, today is a lot different than what it used to be because your woman could put on yoga pants and
Hmm.
still look provocative.
Right.
I mean, that's their sweatpants, right?
Mhm.
Like they just throw those on and just go out the house, go grocery shopping, go check the mail, go walk the dog, whatever it is. They could throw those on and still garner the same reaction as if they had what you say, the pencil skirt, right?
Mhm.
Or a sundress, whatever it is. They can get the same reaction. So it may be difficult for them to navigate on what to put on versus what not to put on if they always get that reaction.
Yeah.
Right.
So that, I mean,
That's my point.
but
Especially like women, like we're super well, our natural,
Shape.
composition is curvy.
Mhm.
So, you're asking us to hide our curves to curb the appetite of men. And it's
no,
just
I don't, Caddy, I don't think that's the question asking you to hide your curves. I think the question is asking you to disregard or ignore the catcalls or the mistreatment because it is wrong. I do disagree with Hamp that it is wrong because you should be able to walk down the street and admire somebody without being disrespectful. You know what I mean? That should be a possibility. You should be capable of doing that as a human being. So I do think that it is wrong, right? But is a way to deliver your message that may make it right,
Wow.
if that makes sense.
Wow. I ain't never, boy, you the best windshield wiper I ever seen. Golly, you go back and forth. Sheesh. Okay.
Yeah.
Caddy, there you have it. That's Alex. Alex, I want to give you a round of applause. That's the nigga buying the sections in the corner, that top left corner. Okay.
Brian,
don't
The
say it.
simp.
Don't
The simp.
No, far from that. Far
do
from
that.
that.
But I think, but all jokes aside, he has a point where nobody needs to be disrespected, regardless of what they have on. Um, but those things do happen because of what you have on, whether it be right, wrong, and different. That's what it currently exists. And so until we get out of that, we just want to make sure we mitigate risk to our partner and we protect ourselves, right? Because if you have something on and people mistake you for being one way, they can still try to take advantage of you, disrespect you, so on and so forth. So it's very important to protect yourself too, as you guys alluded to. You wear what you want to wear and understand what you wear can have repercussion. So that's all. Last topic. Let me show you guys something if you don't mind. Let me pull it up here. Okay. So if anybody knows this story, shout out to hiphopvibe.com. This is Brittany Renner. So PJ Tucker. What's his name? PJ.
It's not PJ Tucker. It's
PJ Washington.
yeah.
So PJ Washington. She used to go to his high school games, the whole 9 yards. He went to Kentucky, right? And then I think so. And then she had a baby with him. I think he's paying what is it, $100,000 a month or something crazy
Yeah.
for
She
child support.
well had his baby and then got divorced from him.
Yep, like right away. And then now she's got alimony and child support and all of that stuff. So in combination, it's something like 100 G's.
Yeah.
So you know she's 30 years old. So what is he in his second year, third year?
He in his
Second year, bro. Divorced him. Was going to his high school games. That's predatory, right?
Yeah.
And so here's a statement. So this is off her Twitter. She says, "Hey Jackson State, that's where Deion Sanders coaches. Hire your sons." This woman is 30 years old, right? Not too much
33.
older than them. Sorry, go ahead. Say it.
33.
33 years old, right? So, you know, so if that was a guy, what would the response have been? Right? She going to this little boy's games, right? Doing all of that, has his baby, divorced him, gets the money, goes to Jackson State at 33, hire your sons. If a man was to conduct himself in this manner, what would we be saying? Pedophile. Not obviously 18 is of age, whatever, but there's certainly 17-year-olds on campus, right? And not saying she did that, but I mean the boy was in high school when she was going to his basketball game. For whatever reason, that's some she was actually there. The reason she was there, I'm speculating, right? I just want to make that clear. But if it was a man, the fallout would be tremendous. Tremendous. So what are your thoughts on that? Let's start with Shaun.
I'm in agreement. You know, that's
Sexist.
we just watched R. Kelly, a whole documentary about him having issues with underage people, and if she practiced the same habits, and she should get the same results. I mean, not to say she broke the law or anything like that. I don't want to put her in the same box as a convicted felon, right? But it's under the same guise in the court of public opinion. If you are a predator in that regard, and if that was her intention to do that, then she should be treated as such. I don't know how that looks in the cancel culture of today, but she took her time to manipulate, plan, and plot, and game and scheme this young boy out of millions at the end of the day, because she wanted the bag, and that's more along with what the culture is today. I mean, people are after the bag, they after the money, and she didn't got ran through the whole NBA, NFL industry already, and she saw somebody who was a sucker who couldn't see it coming, even though he was young and impressionable. You know, I'm sure he was aware of who she was. Yeah. He got game, he got caught. But she should be looked at in the same light in regard to someone who in a legal parameters preyed on him.
Yeah. Jimmy?
I think it's fine. I think it's creepy. I mean, if it is true, I mean, because right now, you know, she could just be playing on the whole accusations, right? Everybody know about the PJ Washington story. She denied that she trapped him, so to speak. But I don't believe that instance that you showed there. I don't think that was the only one that she posted about after the Washington situation. So I feel like she's playing on it because there are some people that's supporting what she's doing, right? You know, people consider that getting to the bag. But in the light of men, you know, we couldn't do that. You know, we couldn't even play around with that subject. We'll be dragged to the mud, so to speak. So I think it's foul. I mean, if it's true or not, you know, even with the situation, you know, he thought he had somebody locked up. Soon as she had the baby, soon as she got to the hospital, it said that she filed for the divorce. So was there something wrong beforehand? You know, we don't know. right? But at the end of the day, playing on these kids, she's 33, like Shaun said, going to their schools and telling parents to hide their sons, that's foul, right? Because there's people out there that actually think that way. They don't post it, they don't put it out publicly, but people's mentals are screwed up. I mean, so I don't agree with her, entertaining that.
Yeah. Caddy?
Yeah, the same. I actually think she's a little sick. You know, definitely predatory behavior, and this isn't her first time. And unfortunately, I think social media just drives that type of behavior. So she's not the only. She's just one of the popular ones, and yeah, had it have been a dude, that was doing that with a younger woman or a younger lady, yeah, I think would have been more sensationalized, but uh, we still recognize what she's doing as being wrong, and there's also kind of an accountability factor too for the young man. Um, that we really have to talk about. I mean, some young dudes think it's, they think it's cool. Oh, I got an influencer, or I got someone that everybody else wants, and maybe he fed into that narrative and he got caught up. It's unfortunate. It's a heavy price he's paying, but hopefully he's learned from this, and hopefully others will learn from it. But yeah.
Lex, what you think?
I mean, yes, he was technically legal, but I just, in my eyes, like, what do you want with a child? Like, why? But I also think too, I think it's a bigger conversation. When I look at some of these like new athletes who come out and those who sign these contracts and these musicians, unfortunately, there are some women who prey on certain men, on these athletes, on these musicians, and I just kind of feel like there has to be an accountability piece about on the men's part. You don't have to entertain that. Like, what? I almost wonder, like, is there someone that says to them, like someone older that says, no, when you get to this certain point, there are going to be women or certain people who come out and they're going to try to leech onto you. So for me, it's gross, but then I also feel like there needs to be an accountability and someone to be able to be like, nah, leave that situation alone. But I also do think that if it was a man, the situation would have been very, very different.
Dre?
I think Lex has a really good point, saying that guys have a personal responsibility in this as well. Yeah, I mean, and but in the same breath, I also think that men can be prey, right? So there could be young males who don't have the maturity to even combat the advances of someone in that nature. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's totally wrong, and that men can be preyed upon as well. But I think Flex was saying that they definitely need to have somebody in their corner to help them understand, because like I was saying before, that their mental maturity is probably not at that level yet.
Yeah, and so on that point though, that's what is kind of contrary a little bit. So Lex, I gotta push back on that, and Caddy too a little bit. So do you remember those times when people would say she asked for it because of what she had on? She wanted it, so on and so forth. So this is a child, right? We just acknowledged that point. And so this is a master manipulator, a sociopath, if she's that sick, right? He's not equipped with the tools, right? And he may not have a big brother or whatever the case is to say, get the hell out of there, right? So why can't the victim stay a victim?
Because we put parameters around that, meaning, if you're 18, I don't know at what age he met her. So I really don't even know the story like that. But if he was 18, then he's of legal age according to law. So that's where that accountability, kind of kicks in. You kind of sink or swim, and sometimes it takes these hard examples to get to that point.
Yeah. And I think I'm looking at it from the perspective of, because I don't know too much about her. I try to watch something with her with DJ Academics, and she was just confusing me.
Yeah.
But I think of to the spectrum of when I see her going onto the campus, I think of her looking for her next come up. That's what I think of. And for me, I'd be like, yo, homegirl is on here. She tries to talk to you. Leave her be. I've heard this about her. I've heard that about her. She's essentially a groupie for the campus. So for the next star athlete. That's how I look at it when I saw that post.
Yeah. Yeah. No, same. But you know, it's different. Mike Tyson said everybody got a plan till they get hit. You know, so they saying, man, I ain't messing with her. She run down on you in the middle of that party, and you never see nothing like it in your life. Let's see how people actually gonna react. You know what I mean? So, like a predator, a master predator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lions don't lose fights. It has to be 10 hyenas for the lion to lose the fight, right? The female lion, right? At that, you know what I mean? When you usually see those shows, so like a real predator, I mean, it's just difficult, right? And if you don't have the tools or the training or the know-how or the experience, like I it's hard to say somebody's blameless, but very slightly, because people get manipulated every day, you know. So
Well,
I just go ahead.
To bring your first topic full circle, the reason why we don't see him as a victim, or why everybody doesn't see him as a victim or let him stay the victim, is because of sexism. If it's the other way around, if it's the other way around and roles are reversed, she gets stuck with a baby, right? He's not stuck with a baby, so we don't look at him as the victim anymore. Oh, he good. He in the NBA. He make money. He all right, right? He gonna be all right. He's gonna pay a little bread. He gonna find another woman. But he obviously felt like he had to marry the girl, right? So he actually married her. You know what I mean? So he in this regard, we don't look at him as the victim for I guess maybe a temporary standpoint, but not a long term, because we think differently of men in that regard than we do women. If it was an 18-year-old girl, you'd be like, man, that nigga preyed on her. Like, we would never let her relieve her of the victim status. We would never do it.
Right.
So that's sexism.
Yeah. Think so. Anybody else?
So we talking about the guy PJ Washington, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So his so his response. I mean, doesn't response have a play in this as well to how we view him? Because he didn't come across as though he was a victim. I think he actually said this was something that was platonic, right? So he wasn't seen as a victim in this situation, even though we say that it is because we see it from the outside looking in, but internally he didn't feel that way himself.
Right. If you was 22 and the girl gamed you out of 100,000 a month, you gonna come out and be like, you know what? Yeah, she got me. I'm sorry. You know, I didn't know what I was thinking. You're like, oh man, it wasn't nothing. It's all good. You wasn't even like that. Yeah. You're not gonna put your feelings and emotions out on the table and be like, oh no, I was really in love. You're not gonna do that.
You're doing it all the time now. We talk about this mental frailty now. I mean, these athletes are now like stopping playing in the middle of a football game because mental health is something, right? So being vulnerable, it's not the same thing, right? Mental health and this is not the same thing. What I'm saying is people being vulnerable in the public light is not something that is so faux pas as it once was. What I'm saying.
No, I disagree. I have to push back on that. So yeah, the 32-year-old athletes, right? LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, right? We're up on the panel. The young guys, right? Especially in the NFL, they don't say a motherfucking thing.
Really?
Every single one of them Cowboys stood up for the national anthem, right? Because it's not the same. Everybody's not making $20 million a year, right? You can't be vulnerable like that. So, see, we don't want to go to the populace because we had a couple outliers that said a little something. And then they even told LeBron to shut up and just dribble. So we can't be vulnerable. And the problem with men is we always say we fine and we not, right? And we be victims in a lot of situations, but we cannot be a victim because we don't have that luxury.
Okay, I mean that can be your opinion about it, but I think that you are able to express your vulnerability if you need to. I mean, if that's how you feel, I don't think it's gonna be such of a stigma as it once was. I mean, I think that if you feel like you were taken advantage of, you can say that. And I think people actually will be on your side.
Has he expressed that he thought he was taken advantage of?
No, he did not. That's what I'm saying. He did not.
Because it's here.
But he might not realize that he's been taken advantage of. That's the
He's
thing
20.
too.
He's
He may not
22.
realize it.
He's 22.
Yeah.
Right. He
Then-
might not realize it.
He still got ego and pride.
Yeah. And think, let's just give more perspective, right, to the ladies, and if you don't know the story in general, to the audience, right? These are blue chip prospects, right? So he been a man since he was 12 years old. You understand, right? So the denial for him, nobody ever told him he ever did anything wrong or messed anything up. So his denial meter is probably
Yeah.
out the window. Jim, you about to say something?
I forgot.
Good. But
To Dre's point, just because the avenue is available, it doesn't mean that these young athletes are going to take it, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, the media is allowing some players to be more vocal, if they agree with your content. But he may not feel comfortable coming out in front of his boys and say, yeah, she got me, dog. It's like some people don't want to admit that. He's going to take the other route and say, this is how we wanted things to end. I wanted to get divorced as soon as she came out of the hospital and pay her 6 figures a month. Like, who's going to say that and be real about it? Nobody. Nobody's going to say that.
Especially if he thought all was well before he did.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Dre might say it, but nobody else, It's like, nobody else. Jay. Oh, man.
Listen, I didn't say I would say that. I'm just saying that this is another perspective on it, though. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
Another way of thinking about it.
it is. I just want perspective to be viable, and by and large,
That is a viable perspective. It really is. That absolutely is.
Well, see, now, do we create normalcy off of outliers, or do we go with it based on either averages or the majority? Right. So, if you throw out an outlier situation, yes, it's possible, but the probability is very, very low.
Okay. So, are people now more than say 5 years ago, say 10 years ago, coming out about mental like their mental frailty in sports?
Yes.
Right. So it's not this outliers. This is actually. I think it's going to come to a point to where we just had DeMar DeRozan talk about it. You had Kevin Love talk about it. You had prominent athletes, NBA players, NFL players talk about this.
35-year-old players. Yes.
Established.
Yes.
Professional athletes.
Yeah. Yeah. Is $5 a gallon good for gas?
Excuse me.
$5 a gallon. Is that good?
It depends on where you at.
Is that good? Because your example is, they dropped it to $4.99. Let's get all the gas in the world. No, motherfucker, that's still bad, right? So yeah, it's better than 5 years ago. Doesn't make it good.
But I think for Andre's piece, as far as like the mental health goes, he's 22. He is of we're millennials. So they're of the generation where mental health is not something that's taboo at all. So for most people, for the kids who are growing up in his age range, they're like, well, if you felt away, why didn't you say something? It's okay to talk about your feelings. But we're also coming from the space of, that's not really something you talk about. So you have a half majority that is, okay, let's talk about how you felt. And then another portion of it that's saying, let's not. He might not know that he was a victim of it. And he may not realize that until years down the line. And it could be an ego thing, or he just may not be aware of it. Yeah.
So Alex, let me just clarify. I just want to ask. So you're saying that us as millennials, mental health, we understand it more, and then are you saying that PJ Washington's generation understands it even more than us?
Yes.
Now, sorry. Well, I just want to clarify because the people Dre are referencing are not even of his bracket. And they're like on the top side of millennials, so they're like 35.
Okay, I didn't give the greatest examples, but I'm saying though, so it is generational. Like Lex was just saying, it is generational.
Mm-hmm.
The generation below is a lot is able to talk about it for a lot more than generation previous. I mean, that's how our generation is different than our parents' generation, right? I mean,
y'all are saying a 22-year-old black man can be vulnerable about his mental health?
Put him in the fucking bed.
I'm not saying that he can. I'm not saying this, but I'm saying it's a little bit. If he did, it's a little bit more acceptable in today's society.
Yeah, it's acceptable by us. It's
Yeah.
acceptable by us, not by his demographic.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, the world that we're living in today, we're more focused on mental awareness, but it really is dependent on your community. So we don't know what his community really looks like. And if his community is about manning up and, and hiding your feelings, then yeah, he's going to think that it was his decision and he was okay with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it right, because she absolutely, preyed on him. And yeah, it's just sick. But I think also too, we conflate situations sometimes, because in this situation it looks sick, but if you go to the club, you'll have 18-year-old girls getting approached by 30-year-old men.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about that. So it's just like, how are we picking and choosing when the situation is appropriate versus when it's not?
Yeah. I think particularly with I think you're 100% correct, Caddy. I think because she said hide your sons, right? Knowing, because they know her, the situation with PJ. I think she's just playing on it, which is like, all right, come on now. You know what I mean? But yeah, you'll be surprised, Lex. Like, I coached high school football, and the kids still say stuff like, that's gay, pause, get out, like they still talk like that. So even though like in the media, right, we're seeing like some growth, like when you go with the kids, and these kids are what, 21 now, right? When I stopped coaching, they talk like that. Like I had to tell them, listen, you a pussy. That don't make you gay. It make you a pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like, or it make you soft, or whatever the case was, right? Like being gay don't just automatically make you soft. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the logic still, because their parents still come from a particular demographic, and this is being said in the house too. You know what I'm saying? So just to provide some like context to that generation, but I think they are more aware of stuff, But I just think that it doesn't. It's not reaching as far as maybe we assume. Yeah. And that's just me with just an actual example with those age kids. What, Jimmy?
No, I'm looking at Shaun.
that root beer getting to him.
Man, you can't say what. You had a whole topic on sexism. What's sexist, what's not. You just gave an example. Man, you pussy. You say it's called somebody pussy is sexist too.
Which goes back to his the video we watched earlier before we started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fine. See, one thing about me, if it's gonna be wrong, it's gonna be wrong. If it's gonna be right, it's gonna be right. Contrary, so be it, right? That's how the kids be saying, right? This, that, and the third. But yeah, it's sex. Oh, I'm not saying that we aren't sexist.
No, I get it. It was just funny. Sorry.
I'm funny.
Jimmy pointed it out. He was supposed to point it out. I gotta do a better job. Sorry.
All right, final thought. Shaun.
Sexism is real on both sides of the fence. Be mindful of your behavior and your words. Let your woman wear whatever she feel comfortable in. As long as you have the conversation. That's all I got. Peace, y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all up there. I think different privileges exist for women and men. Quote that I found some time ago, which was appropriate, was that privilege are things that we don't have to ask for, but are given and benefit from. So it was appropriate for a conversation with men and women today.
I like it. Thank you.
First and foremost, I'm gonna start with parents protect your kids. There's vultures out here, pedophiles. But like Shaun said, sexism is real. It's gonna take plenty of years to correct that issue. And then on the topic of apparel, be comfortable within your relationship, but understand the outside world. There's people out to get you, but you got to protect yours at all costs.
Word.
Oh God, that was. I'm sorry, I was out of it for a second. um, I guess I would say dress for the respect that you want to receive. For you first, and then for the relationship. So like understand what respect looks like in the dynamics of your relationship. And yes, sexism is real, but I really do feel like it's important that as Black people we protect each other. So men, all of y'all, it's all of y'all's responsibility to protect us as women, regardless of what we're wearing. And yeah, I just stand on that.
Understood.
Respect is everything. Have respect for your relationship. Have respect for your partner, and I think communication within a relationship is extremely important. Apparel. So if you guys have a conversation, understanding where the boundaries are and where they lie, and you have an understanding, then I don't think there would be an issue. And in regards to the young boy getting taken advantage of, I think that men can be prey as well. So
Thanks, Dre.
Thanks.
Put him in the fucking bed.
Y'all are so weird.
Yo, let me.
He's still frozen.
Let me just say something to everybody. The next person coming here with Boost Mobile Wireless.
I said
Bathroom.
next time.
He said his computer died. Nah, motherfucker, that
Oh my God.
that City Link you got died. So I think a lot of it, awesome topics, dope conversation. I think one thing I want to just pinpoint is that Black men also have to learn how to protect themselves better. From women, and we deal with our women by and large. Our women deal with us by and large. From our women, and it starts from from the bottom too. You know what I mean? Because we get in these situations because we're taught to have a bunch of girls and run through a bunch of women, and then when we get 32, right, 35, now we're supposed to settle it down and so on and so forth. So our protection may look different, but we still need to protect ourselves for sure, and be taught differently. And our women are sexist. Men are sexist too, but women are sexist too, and men are sexist, and women are sexist, and men are sexist, and women are sexist, right? Just to drive that point home. And it is what it is, right? At this juncture, but I just wanted to bring out the point that it does go both ways more often than we may think. And Brittany Renner, if anybody talk to her, tell that heifer stay the fuck home and stay off of college campuses. All right. This might be risky. Like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.